Welcome back to Brad and his mom talk about serial killers.
Yeah, gosh, I'm starting to be a fan of serial killers. I'm going to start my own Facebook page now for my favorite, Brad's mom's favorite serial killers.
First person to like that page, I guarantee you, will be Nick.
even before you?
Huh?
Even before you?
No, he'll like the serial killer page. Like when when my friend from the serial killer calendar site would send me like bootleg DVDs and stuff, he'd send me like magazines too, and I'd kind of flip through them a bit, and then I'd say, "Here you go, Nick. You want these for your collection?" Nick's not really a serial killer, by the way.
Sure.
He lives with me. He never leaves his room. Trust me. Like if Nick was a serial killer, like Dave wouldn't have the smelliest room in the house.
Sorry, Dave.
I'm not. It fucking stinks in there. I don't know if it's the ferrets or his cheeseburgers on the ground.
Well, don't blame the ferrets.
So we saw they did an AMC re-release of Silence of the Lambs, and motherfucker, it still holds up.
Oh, it does. I'm still scared at all the same parts I was afraid in 23 years ago when it was first released.
Yeah,
In some places more.
I would say more for me, because this was my first time seeing it in the theater. I've seen this movie many times before. I own it. Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I've never seen it in the theater before. And oh my god, it's as scary as you think the movie is when you're just watching it at home in the comfort of your own home. Seeing a giant fucking screen with Ted Levine and Anthony Hopkins staring daggers into the camera, it's bone-chilling. This movie is it's still fucking chilling.
It is. I think Silence of the Lambs and The Exorcist still rank, we've talked about this so much before, still rank as my two scariest films.
Exorcist and Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah. It's just the suspense. It's not that you see that much. It's just that, my God, they're scary. And especially what you were just saying about when Anthony Hopkins' face occupies the entire screen. And those big blue eyes are looking at you. Oh my God!
Speaking of that, we were like the only ones in there, and when he's, it's the scene where he's sitting there in the dark, and then the lights come on, and he gets up there and starts talking to her. I'm sitting there like wide-eyed, like I just, without taking my eyes off the screen, I just reach into my camera and went like click.
There it is.
That's what was fucking staring at me like 7 feet in front of me. Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, he's behind bulletproof glass. He's in this horrible old stone nasty building that there's no way that he can get out of. There's guards every place, but you still think he could reach through that glass somehow. There's something he could do and
he gets that pen.
He does, yeah. He got that pen.
He gets that pen, which I still wonder how he did that.
Because wasn't he strapped to the thing?
He was strapped to the thing, but I don't know. I kind of like that mystery there. How the fuck did he get that pen? For anyone who's read the book, does it explain that? And I haven't read the book. So you saw this in the theater?
Oh, I saw it at the theater.
It came out.
Matter of fact, and I looked it up after we left the theater because I was right. I mentioned this to you earlier. I did see 3 movies that day.
Yeah.
I saw City Slickers, Terminator, and Silence of the Lambs. And obviously 3 very different movies.
I know, right? You got a little bit of everything right there.
Oh, yeah, and I very specifically remember getting Subway sandwiches in between a couple of those films and taking into the movie with us to eat.
So did you see it at the mall then?
I saw it at the mall.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
cool.
I saw it at the mall. Yeah.
Nice. Was that like all day? Like, did you have to...
All day. Had the day off. If memory serves, I had the day off, and a group of friends just took the day off, and it was on a whim. It wasn't planned. It was just random.
I've done that. It's fun.
It was fun.
And
that's the most movies I've ever seen, like, in one day.
Mine's 4.
4.
The last December when I had to go see, like, the Christmas releases for the site. I just spent the day, I saw 4 movies, and it was what else was I going to be doing? Just sitting at home? Like, so yeah, between like a couple of them, I went out and got something to eat, just at the Culver's right next to the theater. And, I just came back in, and was it like this in your case too? Did you kind of look and see, like, what was the one that was when the next one was going to start? Like, you go, when one movie gets out, then you look at all the times that are listed. Did you go to like just whichever one was playing next, or did you kind of have an idea of what you wanted to see?
Kind of, because they weren't all at the same theater.
Well, the mall had 5 screens, right?
Right, but not all 3 of those films. I think we saw them at different times, and I remember going across town, seeing a couple, and then running out to the mall.
Oh,
yeah.
So you saw multiple.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the screens. Oh, wow. That's.
I didn't know tonight was the first night you'd seen it at the theater.
In '91, no, because I remember.
Believe I didn't take you.
Yeah, I remember when you saw it, because you said to me, you were like, this movie was a different kind of scary. This movie is a different kind of realistic, and you were like, I don't know if I want you seeing this till you're like 13. 13, like, okay.
Oh my God.
No, you bought it for me. You bought it for me. That was the first time that I'd seen it, because it was the VHS for it that had like the red spine on the end, like the actual tape. The actual tape itself had like a red spine on the end of it. That was the first time I saw it, because he picked it up for me, like, at the mall, like, it was Musicland or Sam Goody or whatever was there. I was probably like 12. I was probably like 12 or 13, something like that.
I'll apologize again.
No, I don't apologize. I don't apologize at all.
Made him what he is today.
I wouldn't be able to make 75% of the references that I do unless I grew up watching all these movies from a very young age.
Love your suit.
Love your suit.
Oh, God. There's so much you can go.
Did the ranch hand sodomize you?
Oh, my God. Stop it. You can go front to back in that movie and hop all around, and you sometimes just can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
You know?
And because you and I both have been watching Hannibal, the TV series, so I was going into this, no matter how many times I've seen this movie, going into it, I was curious what it would feel like watching this movie, having been watching like all of Hannibal recently. Like, I'm all caught up on that show, and it's a spectacular show. Oh my God, it's so good. Like, it is insane that this is on network television. Like, it's crazy good. Like, it is the kind of good show that makes me hate other shows that aren't as good but get higher ratings.
It's genius. If anybody likes Dexter, they would like that, don't you think? If you like Dexter, you would like Hannibal? Yeah,
I think you'd like Hannibal better. How much did you see all of Dexter?
We watched on demand the whole first season, and now we're into the second season.
So you didn't see the last season?
No, we saw the first. Are you talking about Hannibal?
Dexter.
Oh, Dexter. Oh, yeah, we saw the last season. Yes, the first couple, and then the last one, and I'm still mad about the ending.
That's okay. Now everyone's mad about the ending of How I Met Your Mother, so understandably. Yeah, so because of how bad Dexter kind of got, I'm like, no, Hannibal's better. But it's only five episodes into the second season.
It's so good. They're so good. But I asked you earlier which Hannibal you liked better.
Before going into Silence of the Lambs, because it's maybe been a couple years since the last time I saw something.
I saw it just last year.
It probably hasn't been terribly long, but having seen all of Hannibal, and Mads Mikkelsen is so good.
God, he's so good.
Is so fucking good that I would watch episodes of Hannibal and would be like, you know what, there are aspects of this performance here that I actually like better than Anthony Hopkins. And now after seeing Silence of the Lambs, right after seeing a bunch of Hannibal, going back and revisiting Silence of the Lambs, they're both very both very different from each other. You can tell that they're both interpretations of the same character because there are similarities. There are similarities because Hannibal Lecter's got to be played so charming and charismatic that this is a guy he's not Dexter in that he kills bad people. No, this guy's a psychopath. This guy is a straight up serial killer. Mm-hmm. And Mads Mikkelsen and Hopkins and Brian Cox in Manhunter, they nail that they make this character likable. Mm-hmm. This guy who you see him murdering innocent mm-hmm. people mm-hmm. in the movie, yet you like the guy. Like, that takes talent.
At least I do. You respect their intelligence because
Absolutely.
They're just so smart. And with regard to the Hannibal from television, Mads Mikkelsen, you know more, when comparing the two, you get the chance with the Mads Mikkelsen character to know about his life.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you see how he dresses, just his wardrobe is impeccable, and his dinners that he serves. Uh-huh. I mean, he makes you want to run out and become a chef. After you go to the tailor.
Even though you know it's people that he's eating. This show mm-hmm. is so good, seriously. Even though you know it's people, this show makes you hungry.
It does.
And what Mikkelsen and Hopkins do so well, and this is something that is different from Dexter, because Dexter is, for the most part, a sociopath throughout a lot of it. Whereas Lecter does like certain people. Mm-hmm. Like, when Lecter does have respect for certain people. Mm-hmm. There are people that he does care for. Like, he cares for Clarice Starling.
Mm-hmm. He does. The world's a better place with you in it. Or...
Yeah. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm having an old friend for dinner. And Mads Mikkelsen, too, with mm-hmm. the Mikkelsen and Will Graham relationship mm-hmm. is just... Again, he simultaneously likes and hates Will mm-hmm. Graham. Like, yeah, he likes him, and I think he respects him, but...
He might have to kill him.
Yeah, he does certain things to survive. Mm-hmm. Hannibal Lecter does, and when certain things that Hannibal Lecter does in the TV series that he has to do to survive mm-hmm. is chilling and heartbreaking. Like with Abigail Hobbs when he said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't
protect you in this life.
I'm sorry, I couldn't mm-hmm. protect you in this life." That mm-hmm. was heartbreaking.
It was. It was sad. And I'm glad that they didn't show her demise.
Me too.
Thank God they spared us that.
Yeah, mm-hmm. same here. And in this, Anthony Hopkins he's very much playing... I hesitate to say cartoon because I don't think that, but he is very much playing a character. He's very much having fun playing the character. I don't mean that to sound negative at all, but he's very much like with the and the really like imitatable stuff like that, and he's over the top. He is over the top. But for me, it was still really scary. Like, when he's just staring into the camera. And yeah, there are moments when his character makes you laugh, but it's that uncomfortable laughter. Did the ranch hand sodomize? Stuff like that. He does make you laugh, but you're kind of like, It's kind of like if Jeffrey Dahmer told you a joke and it was kind of funny, but it's still Jeffrey Dahmer who told the joke.
You feel bad for laughing.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder where he goes within himself to ask things like, did the ranch hand sodomize you? You know, and the questions that he asked of the senator or the politician, whoever she was.
Yeah. When you see her body, did you breast? If you see her body on the slab, what part of you will tingle? You know, like, I bet he had a blast playing that part.
I mean, why are you asking those questions? But it was just all a part of him getting into everybody's head.
It's also Demi's direction, too. Yeah. It's also Jonathan Demi's direction, too. He has a style of directing that I've always liked, and it's hard to pull this off. Where he has a trademark in many of his movies where a lot of the actors are looking right into the camera in a lot of different takes. And in this, where a lot of the spooky moments in the movie do come from 1,000-yard stares, gazes, people's reactions, people's expression in their eyes. He's the perfect director for this. When you have Anthony Hopkins standing there saying honestly, when you break it down, something he kind of normal, sort of, but you know what this guy did. It's told you what he's done before, what he did to that nurse. He ate her tongue and everything.
And his heart rate didn't get above 85 or something like that?
It's insane. And what, like, of course, everyone remembers Anthony Hopkins. Everybody remembers Jodie Foster. But, my God, Ted Levine in this movie.
Oh, God.
Holy shit.
He was so good.
Is she a great big fat person?
Yeah, and he goes back to normal so quick. Like when he first answered the door.
I remember her.
Yeah,
I think I have her business card.
I got her son's business card there. Yeah, God. I mean, just that quick, and then before too long. Oh God! You can when Jodie figures out when she sees the when she sees the butterfly or whatever that moth thing is, when you're like, okay, I think she knows this is the guy, and then when she sees the moth, and then she's like, she knows
I'd have
this
shot
is the
him.
guy. Oh God!
I would have shot him. I would have been like, because at that point, of course it's him. Like, okay, if this isn't Buffalo, I'd be like, okay, if this isn't Buffalo Bill, this guy has still got like several bodies in his basement.
God damn.
That whole finale, though, seeing that in the theater, in terms of climaxes that make you shit your pants, this is in the top 10. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 8mm. The climax of 8mm when Cage is walking through Machine's house at the, oh God. Those are right up there in like the most shit your pants.
Tough. 8mm once was enough for me on that one.
8mm?
Yes.
That movie is disturbing as shit.
It's so disturbing.
I love 8mm.
To your point about scenes in this that make you scared, make you afraid, the last scene when he's got the night vision glasses on, and Jodie, I mean, my God, she was just so genius the way she was playing all of that. You're scared. I mean, you're like, turn around. Remember the guy in the 40-Year-Old Virgin? Bitch, get out of the room. Get out of the room.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, move, do something, turn around, shoot. When you were talking about Anthony Hopkins looking in the right straight in the camera, you wonder what the guy on the other side of the camera is thinking. Dude.
Will somebody get me a diaper, please?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I need to change my pants.
When you saw this for the first time, did you want him to get away? Anthony Hopkins?
Kinda did, and I loved the end. I mean, the whole old friend for dinner thing was just classic. But I can tell you, when I first saw it, I was just so scared. At a couple points, I think I'd stopped breathing.
I was too. And I've seen this movie before several times. I've got it back at the house.
Oh yeah.
I still break it out every once in a while, but my God, like, man, does seeing this on a big screen really get to you? Like, holy shit. Like I said, I texted the picture of Anthony Hopkins to somebody. I'm like, well, I think I'm probably going to have nightmares tonight. And I know where the movie's going. I know, like, what scenes are coming up next. I know what the lines are. But holy shit. Yeah, when it comes to a movie like this, seeing it in the theater, and I feel like an asshole for saying that because it's the last night it's fucking showing. That's kind of dickish of us that we do this on, like, the last night that they're showing these things.
Was this the only night or the last
they
night?
did it. They did it Sunday after. They did it Sunday afternoon.
That's right. Just like Fast Times, it was on 2 nights, kind of separated.
Yeah, they do it on Sundays and Wednesdays. And like Fast Times, this is the second one of these we've done like in a row where American Girl by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers are on the soundtrack.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Were there things? Because there's a few things I noticed, little small things tonight that I hadn't, noticed even when I watched it last spring, on a big television. There's different things I noticed. I'd never noticed the mark on her cheek at the end of the movie from the gun fire, remember?
Yeah, because she mentions that when coming out of the house.
Right, she mentioned that.
The gunpowder. Yeah, that's right.
I never noticed it. I hadn't.
there's little touches to this movie that I love so much. Like, for instance, like, this is one of the only ones that I can think of where they really do address the fact that inspecting a dead body will smell so bad that you have to put that shit under your nose. And I'm hard-pressed to think of another movie where they really address that. I'm sure there's some, but off the top of my head, I can't. This movie actually does address that. And there's people who pop up in it that I forgot. Like, I had just forgotten that Chris Isaac was the SWAT commander there at the end. I remembered when I saw his name on the credits.
The guy at the funeral home?
Bob?
Yes, Bob.
We've got a flying mouse to kill, and I need to clean my claws. Bob, gun. Yeah, Bob.
Gonna need a minute, boys. After you shot Bob.
Bob, gun. Gonna need a moment or two alone, boys.
Poor Bob.
I kind of like this one, Bob. Leave it. Let's see. Oh, well, hell, you saw Silence and City Slickers in the same day, right? Both have Bob in it. Remember? Bob was the drunk cook in City Slickers when... remember the part where he was the cook who was with him, and then he got drunk and started running off with the horses, and then
oh my God!
The horses fell off the cliff and they had to bury them.
Oh my God, I forgot. It's been a long time since I saw City Slickers. Matter of fact, I think that was probably... Did we see it not the first time? I know I didn't see it the first time with you at the theater, because I saw it the day I saw Silence of the Lambs. But did I take you?
To see City Slickers? I did see it in the theater. Yeah. It was either you or my dad.
Yeah.
It might have been
God, I
you.
forgot about Bob. He pops up and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those two, yeah, Batman, of course. But yeah, I think Cracked did maybe it was Cracked, did like a list of like the worst action figures of all time or something like that, and they put the action figure for Bob on there, and they were like, what's this, who the fuck's Bob? Like, fuck you. I will pay top dollar for a Bob action figure from Batman. Hell yeah, I will. Nope, that was the most tragic part of that movie, when Bob got shot.
I know, and poor Jack Napier's all sad. he actually had like compassion. Gonna need a minute alone, boys.
But I think he was more upset that he lost his balloons. Because he was like, those are my balloons. He stole my balloons. Why didn't somebody tell me he had one of those things?
Even the worst of people, serial killers, Jack Napier, they all have a good side.
Oh, this is like even Hitler had a dog.
Well, that's what they say. But seriously, I mean, look at Hannibal, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
There's people he likes.
Yeah.
He likes Will. You know he does. And I think he liked Jack Crawford's wife. Remember how he genuinely, he couldn't let her die. You know, he genuinely felt bad for her. I think you get to see with the television, obviously because it's a series, the television Hannibal, you get to see people who you know he really likes. Whereas in Silence of the Lambs, you know he likes Clarice. But you don't really get to see maybe that relationship with other people. Jack Crawford is alive, probably because Hannibal's allowed it. You know? Jack
Crawford, like, I would say, you asked me this before the movie, who my favorite Jack Crawford was. Probably Scott Glenn, honestly. Lawrence Fishburne is really good.
He's so good.
He is really
He's so good.
But he's very Lawrence Fishburne. You know, he is. Whereas with the Scott Glenn performance, I'm more so seeing a character. I more so feel like I'm watching this real guy, Jack Crawford. Whereas, yeah, Lawrence Fishburne is good, but he's playing him as Lawrence Fishburne, you know, and that's good. And he's a good actor. I mean, he is. But I get more lost in the character when I see like Scott Glenn on there. Dennis Farina was good in Manhunter.
I like to see Dennis Farina. I liked him.
And you've never seen Manhunter. You
never seen
Manhunter.
It'll be on my rental list here real soon. That and Red Dragon. I have to watch.
Red Dragon's good. Between Red Dragon and Manhunter, I prefer Manhunter. I greatly prefer. And Manhunter, you will love Manhunter. if Silence of the Lambs was an episode of Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Like, that's 100% what it is. It's a Michael Mann movie. Red Dragon is fine. A lot of people don't like Red Dragon that much. I thought it was fine. I like Manhunter better. A lot of people don't like Hannibal, the second movie. And I can see why, but I enjoy Hannibal. It is goofy as hell. It is tonally nothing like Silence of the Lambs or Manhunter or Red Dragon. It's like watching a Giallo flick that has Hannibal Lecter in it. It's odd. I almost don't want to say anything about it because part of the fun of that movie is not knowing what the hell they're going to do next. But the ending is, man, if they went for that ending in the movie. Because if I remember right, Jodie Foster said no to Hannibal because she didn't like the ending of the book. She didn't like the ending of the book. Do you know how the book ends? The book ends, and this isn't how the movie ends, but the book ends, Clarice and Lecter end up together.
Oh, God.
Like, end up together.
No wonder she didn't like it.
At the same time, I'm like, that is an awesomely trolly ending. I have to respect that. That is so fucking weird. Oh, God.
Was the Dr. Chilton in Hannibal? Dr. Chilton character? No.
No.
Okay.
The guy who plays him on the show is actually pretty good. Like, he feels like he is playing, like, you can buy that he's the same guy from this because they play the part very similar to each other.
He's not as annoying. You know, he's not as annoying. And you've heard me say a couple times already tonight, great, at the end, having an old friend for dinner, that whole thing.
Friend for dinner.
Yeah, the Chilton on the television, he's not quite as annoying as...
But that made it so...
But that's the part he had to play, I suspect.
Well, and Anthony Heald, I think is how you pronounce it. He is great at playing the sleazy, wormy guy. 8mm.
Oh,
remember
God,
him in that?
He did it because he could.
He did it because he could.
Oh.
I remember when me and my dad saw 8mm in the theater. Again, seeing that movie in the theater was holy shit.
Did we see it in the theater?
No. I showed it to you when it came on video. Me and my dad saw 8mm in the theater, and like, when it got to the end, when Cage is going through the house, like, you couldn't hear a pin drop in that theater. It was crazy. But anyway, when he first popped up in the movie, Dad was like, he was just sitting there and goes like, well, so he's got something to do with it. Okay, yeah. It's like when Gandolfini pops up in it. I remember there was some lady who had a couple of kids that she was taking to see 8mm. And they were like, this isn't one of those things like we were talking about at the beginning of the video. They were like 5, or so, they were like 5 years old or something like that. I don't know, but she had a couple of kids with her.
To see 8mm?
Yeah, and the guy at the ticket counter was like, are you sure you want them seeing this?
That's kind of young, honey. I mean, that's even below my bar.
Yeah, this was like 5. Like, this was like 5 years old. Like, but I can't remember if they went to see it or not. If they did, they didn't make any noise throughout it. Mommy, what's he putting up there? That's an enema, dear.
Oh my God. Those kids never be the same. Better line up a psychiatrist for them.
So you gonna watch Manhunter?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna watch Manhunter for sure. And Red Dragon. I've got to. And then I've got a couple more Hannibals to watch and then get caught up because it's on Friday.
Yeah. Oh God, like God damn it, I love that show. And it really is hard to, especially after seeing the movie, because like, yeah, Mads Mikkelsen, you get to know him more as a person, more as a character. You see a lot, like you said earlier, you see a lot more things that he cares about. you see him sad, you see him angry, you see him when he goes in full-on defense mode, and that, I mean, that's the benefit of it being a long series, you know, as opposed to a 2-hour movie.
Right.
So of course you're going to get to know the character better. But the one thing, even though like you can tell when Mads plays the part that he didn't want to just impersonate Anthony Hopkins. He wanted to make
and he
it.
doesn't.
He doesn't. He doesn't. He makes it his. He makes it
his own.
He does. But again, it's like I said, both of these guys, whether we're talking about Hopkins or Mads Mikkelsen, man, you know, you could just listen to him talk for hours.
Oh, all night long. I think of topics that I would like to actually just sit down and chat with him about. You know, gosh, what could I could talk to this? I could talk to this Hannibal about cooking, you know, which I love to do, you know, and I could talk to this Hannibal about different topics. But did it make you think about when, I hate to say this, when you think about serial killers and their likability, and some of them even have charm, did it make you think about Ted Bundy? There's a serial killer who's intelligent, well-spoken, charming, handsome, and then
that's one thing. That's a quality when you're talking about sociopaths. They are good actors. They because you know they can't just openly walk around. I mean, they can, but you know, I mean, to fit in with society, they go around and they act happy. They act sad. I mean, they're naturally good actors. So yeah, something like that makes sense. That someone like a Ted Bundy would be charming, would be charismatic, would be a good talker, a good actor, because he was his own attorney, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, in this movie, yeah, there were certain things that popped up that reminded when Ted Levine has the cast on, because didn't Bundy do that? Didn't Bundy go around with
Yes, he did.
Yeah, like when he does that,
That's
and gets,
how he would get somebody in the car.
Yeah, and Ed Gein, well, Buffalo Bill is partly based on
Ed Gein.
on him with the suits and and everything he was doing. The Goodbye Horses thing. It's amazing. Oh my god.
You gotta see this movie if you never have. Rent it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and start watching the series.
Oh god, yeah. Absolutely. I highly recommend that show. Like I know, like, the horror community is by and large rallied around The Walking Dead. I'm sorry, Hannibal's a much better show.
It's good. It's been a while since I've really been addicted to a series. I did watch Dexter after it was over, though.
Sure.
Because Becca got me, you know, he started watching that. We put on demand a couple of seasons and then watched the last one, and it was fun. I enjoyed watching all of it.
There are some really good seasons of Dexter.
Now I'm legitimately addicted to a current drama, nighttime network drama, which hasn't happened in years.
You've really got... Me too, to the point to where I'm actually there on Friday.
To watch it?
Like, I can't think of the last time I did that. Because I watch a lot of shows, yeah. I certainly do. But most of the time I DVR them, or I watch them on demand, or there's some shows where I just wait till the season's over and then I just binge watch them. Hannibal, though, I'm fucking there on Friday night. Me and Nick are there to watch Hannibal on Friday night. You really need to see True Detective. True Detective is like...
Is that HBO or no?
Yeah, it is.
And
I can get
tell
you
me
the
who
episodes.
it is. You told me. I forgot.
McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
That's it.
That show is... Oh my god, that show is so good. Holy shit. It's 8 episodes. You could breeze through it in like a couple of days.
The whole show's only 8 episodes?
The season is 8 episodes. But apparently what they're doing with it is like it's going to be a like an anthology series where there's a season 2, but it'll be about other characters and someone else. But yeah, the first season is 8 episodes, and it is like hauntingly good. Like that show, like just sitting there in my living room watching it, I was like, I was sitting there like, I'm glad this isn't in theaters because I would like be having so many panic attacks right now. It's wildly fucking good.
This Hannibal has a Facebook page. I liked it.
Mickelson does?
Yeah, it's the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by this Hannibal, I meant this show. Yeah, it has Facebook page.
Does he have a Twitter account?
I don't know. I really don't know because I'm not on Twitter myself. But yeah, check out the Hannibal, the television series Facebook page. I liked it. I had to.
Are there like recipes and stuff on there?
I didn't look that much into it. Mostly from what I saw, which was just brief. I just liked the page and kind of scrolled down.
Yeah.
It was mostly just chatting about the show.
Okay.
You know, not unlike, I don't know, Modern Family. That's another one that I've liked.
Yeah.
The page, you know, just scrolls down and talking about episodes and all that kind of thing. But I've got Last Fridays to watch, and then because we want to get caught up, and then I'll watch Last Fridays and then this Fridays.
I like how in the movie when Hopkins escapes and you see the magazine that says Bon Appetit on it right before he bites the guy's face. When you first saw the movie, did you know right away that he had the cops?
No.
That got you?
Yep, that did. Yep, did.
Was it until he ripped it off? Is that when you figured it out?
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I kind of picked up it was him because you can tell it's. Knowing that it's him, you can tell it's him even when he's got the thing on his face. I think it was when I first. I was 12, 13 when I saw it. When I first saw it, I think it was around like the second or third time that it showed Hopkins as the deputy or as the cop on the ground. I think when it kept showing him, I was like, okay, that's Hannibal Lecter.
I noticed it more tonight, but that's because it was on the big screen as opposed to just, my television at home. And you can tell looking down at it that that's Anthony Hopkins.
It's one of those things.
But the first time I saw it at the theater 23 years ago, didn't notice it.
Right. Yeah. And again, like I said, I think it was maybe the third time it cut to him when I was like, they keep showing that cop. I think that might be him. But that's one of those things like, okay, like if you go back and rewatch The Crying Game, you watch it and you're like, how did I not see this coming?
Like anything.
Sleepaway Camp.
Oh God! We gotta watch. We have to watch that one at home. I gotta have
Sleepaway Camp.
Yes, I gotta have Brad's stepmom watch Sleepaway Camp.
Hell yeah, Sleepaway Camp.
It's so bad that
it's awesome.
It is.
I showed you that for the first time. You show me this Oscar-winning movie, Silence of the Lambs. I bring you Sleepaway Camp.
Well.
There you go.
We got to talk again after I see Red Dragon and Manhunter. We can compare our Hannibals and the Jack Crawfords. I should probably watch Hannibal so I can compare Julianne Moore to Jodie Foster.
Julianne Moore is fine. Like, the only distracting thing about her, like, she's fine. She is. I do like how the character has certainly matured a lot in the second movie, because the second movie, I believe, picks up like 10 years later, so she's a lot more experienced. She's a lot more hard-edged. It was a little, if I remember right, I remember it being a little distracting in that she's very much doing Jodie Foster's voice, that kind of southern, kind of gruff voice that Jodie... From what I remember, she was kind of doing... It's honestly been a little while since I've seen Hannibal. It's got Gary Oldman in it. That I didn't even know it was him until like the ending... Wait, he was uncredited in that, I think. But it was like, maybe I was on IMDb later that day. I was like, oh my god, that was Gary Oldman. He's in it. It's got a lot of people in it. But the movie Hannibal's a totally different animal. It's not like any of the other ones. It really is. It is pretty cartoon. Like it gets really out there. It's kind of campy. I mean, it really is kind of a straight up exploitation movie, but it is one of those what the fuck movies that you watch where you want to see what the fuck it's gonna do next, because it's just taking left turns all over the frickin' place. So it's wildly entertaining, and I enjoy it because of that. But I think you would, if you go into it not
knowing what it is.
If you go into if you go into Hannibal the movie and not expecting it to be like Silence of the Lambs, because it's not, you'll like it all right. I think Anthony Hopkins easily carries the movie.
He can just be in anything, even if it's not great, and you like it. Anthony Hopkins.
Even if the movie's not very good, you can always tell that Anthony Hopkins is having a good time.
What was he in? Was he in something with Chris Rock once?
Anthony Hopkins. It was Bad Company.
That's it.
I had to see that because Nick was working at the movie theater at the time, and he had a bunch of other stuff to do, and that movie they had just gotten the print for that, and he asked me if I would go there at like 3 in the morning to preview it to make sure the reel was put together right and everything. So I did, and it wasn't very good. But here's the interesting thing. Hopkins' partner in the movie, who's also kind of his love interest in the movie, was Buffalo Bill's the victim and the girl he kidnapped, the girl
that was in the pit?
Yeah, it was in the pit.
That was his love interest in Bad Company? God.
Bad Company wasn't very good. If you're going to check out the movies, I'd recommend you watch Manhunter first.
Red Dragon, and then Hannibal.
You might as well watch Hannibal in between the two, because Manhunter and Red Dragon are both based on the same book. They're the same plot, the same story. Manhunter's a much better movie than Red Dragon is. But I'd have a break in between and watch Hannibal between those two. That'll give you a break between the two movies. You will love Manhunter. It is so good.
Yeah, I'll have to see if it's on demand, which Red Dragon's not. I'll just find it at the video store or whatever. But what's the next classic film at the theater?
I don't know. They haven't announced them yet. I've been checking now. They haven't announced them yet. So if something comes up that looks like it'll be worth revisiting and talking about again, yeah, we'll totally do it.
Yeah.
This particular month, this was really the only one that I cared. Not that the movies they showed this month were bad. They weren't at all. There was actually some pretty great ones that came out, but this was the only one where I was like, I want to go revisit that and
awesome.
Talk about it. Oh yeah.
Thanks for asking me. It was great seeing it on the theater again.
Do you got the benefit on here where you know the movies you're going to are good?
Yeah, I do.
Unlike,
yeah, my son's not going to take me to any crap.
I was about to say, unlike the Medea guys, but this year I am the Medea guy.
Oh. Sorry about that, honey.
I've seen worse. Kind of, I guess. All right, well...
All right. Thanks again.
Of course.
I had a great time.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow with Captain America. Later.
Bye.